Have you ever written down a goal so honest that just saying it out loud felt embarrassing, even when there was nobody else in the room to hear it? A few years after having several hard seasons in my life, I kept hearing the same voice and the same advice from people. And what I was hearing was write down your goals. Read them aloud. Post them everywhere so you can see them and read them every day. And even, as I think back, I was giving that advice to many people too. I don't know that I was committing to it. I don't know why, but I would encourage others to do it, right? So one night, I finally sit down and I write my list. Right there at the top, two things scared me just seeing them. I can't even believe I was writing them down. One was actually going on real dates again. Now, as you may know, I had lost my wife to a car crash. That was probably 5 years earlier. So here I am writing down that I might go on some dates. So that was freaky. So instead of just talking about dates, I was thinking like I would actually commit. The other one was entertaining the option of walking away from a job. I would say that it no longer fit the life I was building, but the thing was, I was a teacher. I loved I loved everything about what I was doing. I was helping teachers and I was helping students integrate technology. I really, really loved my job, but I was building a career and an income of something that I loved even more. So I was kind of like in that little ambivalent state, a good place to be. But here I was, writing those down. So that's why it scared me. So today I want to tell you what actually happened when I actually read the list out loud. But before we get into all this great stuff, if you are in your goal setting mood, if you've got some big goals that you want to go after, head over to talktoperry.com and let's help you get it out of your head and out into the open, even if it's wild and crazy and silly and you just feel weird saying it out loud. Head over to talktoperry.com. I'll put that down in the lower third if you're watching on video here, and let's get those dreams going, right? So okay, and I was spinning out the idea of courting your dreams. I love the idea of committing to a goal. But what about courting a goal or courting a dream? I stood in my living room and I read my list out loud, exactly how I was told to do. And the only witness there were my dogs and maybe a cat or two. And they the dogs perked their ears up every time I said the words out loud. And it was as if, did Dad say treat? Did Dad say let's go outside? Whatever it is. They had no idea what I was talking about. Maybe they did. But I felt ridiculous. And it felt strangely real in a way that just thinking the goals, in private, it really didn't have that same vibe. But here's the part that really actually mattered. I didn't commit to the goals all at once. Now, a lot of times I talk about, decide and then commit and then go after your goals, take action on them until you succeed. I hear you. And this is a very, very different thing. I felt like I was walking on eggshells even getting these down. The idea of just diving straight into either one, it felt so heavy, so wild. Yet I didn't want it to be a goal that I just kept putting off until future me could deal with it. So instead, I decided to entertain them. I decided to court them. I tested them in a small way, low pressure steps toward each goal, and just paying attention to how each step feel or how it felt. So I even did this kind of with a few fitness programs that I had done where it's like, I don't know if I can commit to this. Am I overcommitting? So I would kind of like dip my toe into the water sort of thing as opposed to just jumping in off the deep end. So I was just paying attention to how it felt. I wasn't promising myself the finish line. I was just looking at what's the next honest step and then looking at what comes next, what happens here. Because as I was going, I'm like, opportunities are going to expand, and I want to pay attention to the journey here. That approach, and I don't know if every single goal needs this approach, but that approach, it changed everything about how those goals played out. Both of them. Just amazing how they turned out. Small steps taken with this built-in permission to, I didn't want to retreat, but there were moments where I thought about that, but it turned out to be more sustainable than some sort of all or nothing leap that I probably would have talked myself out of within a week. I moved slowly enough. It was probably quicker than I really thought it would be, but I moved slowly enough to just stay real, stay honest with myself. And I was going quick enough that things actually started to change and started to shift. So looking back on those goals, that list really wasn't about a job title or a date on a calendar. They were really about just being willing to say some scary things out loud, even to entertain that idea, maybe confuse the dogs a little bit, and then give myself a way to approach it that didn't require certainty before I even started. What ended up happening was I was writing that goal down. By the end of, by the very next month, I was going on my first date. I ended up marrying this lady. And so I was going on that first date. Nope, I take that back. I wrote it down in January. By the time we were having a conversation, we weren't going on a date yet. We were having a conversation, but online, but we did meet up 2 months later, and then went on an excursion stuff. I'll spare you the details that way, but that turned out amazing. And as a result of that a year and a half later, I did leave my my teaching position and went to work for myself. Both of those things super scary when I was writing them down, because I was not in that space. I could have just stayed comfortable. I was comfortable in my own life, I was content. But I felt there was something more. Yet it was so scary to take that big leap. So I decided to court it. So, if you've been quietly spinning that in your head, nervous to say it out loud, that's why I tell people, head over to talktoperry.com and let's get it down together. Figure out what the courtship is instead of diving into it all at once. There's a great way to make your goals happen. There's not only one way to have it done, So you don't need to have full certainty to start. You just need to say it out loud, have a burning desire to go for it, and be willing. Maybe the burning desire might seem a bit intense there, but just taking the next small step toward it, amazing things can happen. You've got this, my friend. I'd love to hear your top takeaway from today. You can drop those down in the comments. I promise I will reply. You absolutely rock, my friend. And as always, remember, it's never too late. We'll see you next week. That's another Power Blast podcast in the books. Thanks so much for tuning in. And remember, when you are ready to recharge your battery, make sure you go to talktoperry.com. That's talktoperry.com. That's Perry. And I want to listen. I want to hear, what's going on. I want to help you in that 15-minute call to recharge your battery and reclaim your power so that you're off and running and creating massive momentum toward your dream. Also, every day, I am delivering more motivation, support, tips, and strategies inside my free community with amazing people like yourself. And we are conquering the mindset and the fitness. I do 52 weeks of free training in there. Plus, I coach and I mentor people, as well as give you access to tons of resources and guides. It's called my Upside Down Fitness community because we work on a lot of mindset stuff, the inside stuff. And we're a fun group of people striving to make healthier habits in this awesome chapter of life. So make sure you get in there. I promise you'll absolutely love it. Just head over to upsidedownfit.com and you can get into the group. And hey, you would be an awesome friend if you get over to iTunes or wherever you listen to your podcast and leave an honest rating and review for the Power Blast podcast. It helps awesome people like you find the show even faster, and that's who I'm looking for, awesome people like you. That's all I have for this week, my friend, and just to let you know, you absolutely rock. That's all I have for this week. I'll see you on the next Power Blast podcast. And always remember, it's never too late. We'll see you next week.